Oop, it's night. Going to bed. Alright, this is Seal Chan, and this is episode 7 of my long play Let's Play series. And there's a lot of stuff going on. I've been playing this last weekend, trying to finish up all the work in the round of play that I had planned, and actually got to play alongside a lot of the other people on the server, so that was really cool. So maybe I'll stop and show things. I'm not sure which things I may have already covered, so apologies in advance if I repeat myself. The community announcement board, for instance, is more activity, and that's partly due to me wanting to thank people for things, partly due to me wanting to tell people, hey, where's my stuff? I honestly don't think anyone is trying to steal anything, but they may have mistakenly thought that items placed outside my new residence were free for the taking. So, in any case, yeah, and then partly due to other people using it. So I put all my notes over here, so hopefully I won't get too distracted, and, well, maybe there's no such thing as too distracted when you're having fun. Round 7. Let's go through what happened here. So first off, the builder. There's a couple of modest-sized builds that were accomplished. One of them is what I might call a border pond, and another one is the North Watchtower. So let's go take a look here. So here's the direction of the north, and if we walk this way, you may notice there is a new building here. And this is the watchtower, and it looks like a creeper happened here. The chicken's playing in the spot where the creeper must have blown up. So I'll have some repairs to do. I'll talk about that too as well, because a lot of repairs are done and they continue to need to be done. If we come in under here, basically what you see is just kind of a platform on stilts, and I'm not sure if I'm going to let's see if I can jump on here. Yep, made it. I built this because getting up a floor or so gives you a good vantage point, and the hunter basically wants to be able to look around and say, oh, where are the mobs, and either attack from here. In fact, I had a couple of, looks like someone did a repair here, had a couple of creepers come into the village, and I was able to successfully run up here, make sure I had some arrows. I have a good supply of arrows now, thanks to Grim, who undertook the task of obtaining the flint and the chicken feathers from the automated chicken farm. And anyway, come up here and shoot the creepers down without being any real danger of blowing them up. Really, bow and arrow is the best way to get rid of creepers and to get their gunpowder. So yeah, so that's worked out pretty well, and we're making slow but steady progress accumulating gunpowder until we get a stack. So anyway, yeah, I built this. I even left a gap open here intentionally so you can get on the roof. The roof should be spawn proof. Yeah, who knows? If I see one mob spawn up here, I'll know better, but we could put torches on the four corners perhaps if needed. But anyway, try to build being spawn proof is always a good idea. That reduces your mob spawning. You want to control where mobs are spawning, obviously. I would like to think this village is ready for people to stay up all night, but it continues to be proven that you can't just relax inside these walls yet. Definitely come to the conclusion we need more lighting. It's just not going to be avoided. I would like to get to a point where we don't have to worry about mobs in here. So yeah, I'm definitely moving in that direction now. Any case, that's one of the builds. The other one was, I love these ponds, even the sunken ones. And the one that's over behind the tower there, where we've had so many great mob spawning happening, I'm trying to reproduce over here. And I'll explain this a little bit. What you'll see is a pretty deep pond here. I wanted to get well below y equals 63 down here. I wanted to overhang because my understanding is that axolotls will spawn in total darkness. Maybe this isn't totally dark enough. I haven't seen any axolotls spawn in here. You also notice that I've changed the gate or the fence line. I want to see out this wall. I don't want to be here and go, I wonder what's over there. Jump, jump. I just want to be able to look, and if that exposes me a little bit, that's fine. It just makes me feel like I can see what's coming. But I've left a gap here intentionally, here at the base of this steep mountain, because I thought it would take an opportunity to see if I could draw mobs in where I want them to come, and then use this as a way to relatively safely, get them. Now, again, luckily, the first time I implemented this and I waited for the night, much of what's happened to this baby chicken here and happened to creepers on both ends. They could see me over this wall. They came at me. And how did they come? They came along this fence line here, and they came along this fence line here, and they got stuck in this backward moving current. Even now, if you stack up a couple of mobs here, they will one will push the other one out and get into here. But mob movement through this water is very slow, as I'm sure you know. So I just see this. It's a nice way to tuck in the wall of the village up against a steep cliff without the additional difficulties of making the wall look good, without digging these kind of ridiculous trenches into the side of a cliff. So we'll see how this turns out in the end, if this is a good method or not. So anyway, yeah, I was, it puts the mobs in a disadvantage and gives you the easy way to kill them. And the hope was that axolotls would actually spawn in here, and they're pretty much like watchdogs. They attack anything in the water, whether it's a passive or a hostile mob, and they will just, make it hard for any mobs to get into your base that way. Always nice to see. If we get some name tags and start capturing and naming some axolotls, we could have nice little guard dogs. It'd be very cool. Alright, those are the builds that were accomplished and how they've already been used. Later I'll talk about another job I've given the builder to do each round. It has to do with following up on making repairs. The builder also did a lot of repair work. As you may or may not have noticed, I just went ahead and did all the gates. Copied this style here. This is the first gate that was made. It's had several creeper explosions and needed repair a few times. So it needs again to be restored. I'm going to go and change that wall configuration to make that the same around the whole base, so we can just walk up. We don't have this trench here. You'll be able to look out and see what's going on, all of that. So that's coming probably in the next round. But anyway, let's take a quick walk around town. I'll show you all the gates I did. Looks like P.E. Morrill has joined. Oh, this is a big one here. I'll come back to this. Actually, yeah, I will come back to that. I think I may have left something off my list in that sense. Another gate. This is the original design. Well lit, and it allows access to the south. Yes, somehow our one villager has been converted into... Oh, we can block this off. This window is missing. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe there was a creeper event. Anyway, I got this road open, so there's a west gate. There's P.E. Morrill over there. I'll say hello if he stops by, shutting the door. And as I probably showed before, there's a small gate someone built over there. I just left that for the moment. And then this gate here was built. Oops, someone left the door open. That's a good way to let mobs in too. But yeah, so I just put all the gates in, so we'd have a solid wall for the most part, and just get in and out easily. In fact, much to my dismay, I noticed something. You can walk right through that gap. Now, to my knowledge, mobs will not go through there. In fact, I tested this. Let's head to a bed here. Oh, you guys. Take a run. I'll let PE know. Anyway, I did test this. Zombies on the outside were tracking me, but they would not attempt to path through. Oh, already did. Thanks. I'm recording. Hello. Alright. So they wouldn't go through that gap. If I dare, I should test it on creepers and whatnot. But I have a feeling that that's actually impermeable to mobs. And as it turns out, it's easy for players to go right on through. So, I guess you could call that a feature. It wasn't intended. We've had a lot of creeper explosions, as you know. A lot of the repairs have been done now. Not this one. I decided that, and not this one, but what I decided to do is that each round I would need to just kind of walk the village. Let me see, I put that down here. Builder inspection. Walk the village and look for these repairs and just make a list of them. And then in the next round, I would complete those repairs. Doing the repairs is a painful reminder of creepers and of the need to do the work to secure the inside. Some of those creeper explosions were the players could share the responsibility for that. Sometimes they try to attack the creeper with a sword, and they don't hit them enough to destroy them before they go off. I, as a policy, will only attack a creeper with a bow and arrow in the village because it's just I'm the one just doing most of the repairs. I have asked people to fix their own creeper holes. We have plenty of dirt in the community storage, so in any case, yeah, so I'll just skip ahead and just kind of cover that. So next round I will fix everything that I noticed this round, and maybe I'll tack that other thing on there, but you know, you can only do so much. You got to make a time where you go around and say, okay, what's broken? Let me make a list, and then fix it. If you find yourself trying to fix everything as it breaks, you're going to get into a pattern where you just get frustrated because it seems like you can never do what it is you set out to do that day. If you make it a part of your process, then fixing these kinds of defects will just be a natural part of what you do. And when it happens that you're doing it, it's what you intended to do. And it's much nicer that way. I think it's especially important and when you get up, you're able to accomplish something that you plan to do that day. It doesn't always happen, but you can make it happen more often if you plan things accordingly. Any case, so that takes care of the builder. The farmer was able to accomplish harvesting a full stack of melon, so I checked that off on my list and put the melon slice into the crafting recipe chest. Also, the farmer took care of at least some of that cropland that was kind of spawned right in here. There's actually a couple pieces of farmland and whatnot, some of this blocks up here, but for the most part, someone else had already cleared that waterfall. It was kind of a fun way to go up and down the hill, but in the end, it wasn't really by design that I think that was very good to keep that. I would have maybe dug it in as a waterfall, but I kind of want some kind of realistic sense that there might be a spring coming out before I create a waterfall. It did look good though, and I have to say that falling water on these cliff sides is something that I may look for an opportunity to implement somewhere where it looks like it would be somewhat natural for something like that to happen. Perhaps right in this area here, because water, in the real world, water falls, percolates into the ground and creates underground lakes. Those lakes may leak out into what's called a spring, and so you get the source of some creeks that way. Creating waterfalls along this savanna would be a really nice thing, but I want it to also be, look somewhat naturalistic or realistic. So anyway, let's get back to the list here. If anybody does watch this and I miss explaining something, like someone built this enchanting table with lots of bookshelves. It got creeper blown up at one corner once, but it's been repaired again. Very nice. Okay, so forester. The forester was able to get a full stack of acacia and oak saplings. It was a cumulative process. I don't really have any new trees here. I have decided and made it as a task for the next round to add some more trees. It will improve lighting because I always put a torch at the base of the trees, and it will allow for a even higher capacity of accumulating wood. Wood, as always, is one of those things that you just don't accumulate, especially in a community where not everyone is fond of producing lumber. I have done it a few times. Got my saplings. I know that I've had more than 64 saplings, so I give myself credit here where I don't actually have an actual stack. But yeah, this wood will probably disappear in a week or so. But yeah, so a little bit more of trees means I can go and chop every last tree down inside the village and produce an abundance of wood, more than what I need right now, with a little left over, and that's the goal. Try to get through a whole round without having to harvest trees more than once. Hunter, dark spawning rooms. I was go ahead and show you guys what that's all about. So, in an effort to control the spawning of mobs, we know that mobs spawn when it gets dark. So if you want them to spawn and be accessible, why not create spaces intentionally left dark and that kind of capture the mobs where you want them, so that you can casually come by when you want some mob drops and look and see if you got anything. Now, this is not the best example, but let me just pop in here, show another. Oh, PE Moral is way down there. I had a couple of these 7x7 rooms cut out, but PE Moral decided to go mining. He's all about the diamonds. I think he believes that if he mines a chunk, he is bound to find diamonds inside of it. And man, it looks like he got all the way down to Bedrock. That's some dedicated mining there, and that's why our community chest is so full of blocks. It's time to start building with stone. In any case, it has left a tad bit of a hole in the landscape. Not necessarily what I would have wanted, but I'm going to work with it. So, yeah, a couple of my rooms got a little bit exposed by this process. But anyway, let me show you some of the rooms that show what I'm trying to try here. Not this one, but this one. It's very dark in here. I imagine that even during the day, there should be a chance for mobs to spawn in here. all I did was I put back a block and took all the torches out of the 7x7 room. You know, you may recall that when I started mining, I just kind of arbitrarily said, okay, I'm going to go into the cavern. I'm going to walk down through the cavern and find a nice area in the wall here, dig in a block and do 7x7. That's how I'm going to get my building materials. So later I just came back, I took the torches off the walls, put down a block, and my hope is that this is going eventually to be where mobs are going to want to spawn as more and more of this cavern is explored. So I'm not taking the approach personally to do strip mining. What I'm doing is lighting up these caverns. Let these caverns be my guide here. And when I need building blocks, I'll dig out a 7x7 room and then later come back and drop a block in front of it. So there's a 1 block hole. You can see inside. Take down the lights and that's where the mobs will spawn. Now, it doesn't appear to work very well, is what I've seen. But I have never followed this through to completion. I think that what needs to happen is that as all of the caverns underneath the village area are as all the caverns are explored, all that dark area underground is going to get lit up, which means that the mobs won't be able to spawn there. They're only going to be able to spawn in those areas that that remain dark. So we'll see if that actually works or not. I don't know that that's going to make it more likely for them to spawn there. It might, because once you reach the mob cap, then I believe spawning has to stop. But if you have everything lit up, you're not going to reach the mob cap. You're gonna keep having to try, and it'll be more and more these only surviving dark spaces that are where it's even possible for mobs to spawn. Either that or the surface at night will be the prime location. And as long as you can control the amount of lighting on the ground, you should be able to know where those mobs are going to spawn. One other thing I did here is I did some good cavern exploring. So a lot of this cavern has been lit up, and there are passages going many directions. Using the old wisdom, I always put torches on the right as I'm going in, so that when you want to leave, they'll be on the left going out. I mined some ores out of these corners, so I kind of blocked them up minimally. And yeah, this comes to a dead end here. Just a little bit of ore. So now I know to get out of here, keep the torches on my left. Oh, sleeping in a bed. That's my signal. Always carry a bed. At some point, I'm just going to declare beds. I'm not mandating the use of beds at this point, but everybody understands that, you know, if you don't have your base lit up well enough, it's just going to ruin your build. So anyway, keep the torches on my left. I will easily find my way back out. So let's return back to the village. I can check my list here. Equip my sword. I was gifted this enchanted sword with knockback 1. Knockback 1 is nothing to sneeze at. I usually just make do with the stone swords for a long while. It's helped me improve my combat skills. But knockback is pretty nice. Hit that mob, and I can take a easy breather for a moment before he can manage to get back at me. So, alright, anyway, whoops, here we go. Hunter, miner, coal, raw copper, and raw iron. I got a stack of all that. Either cumulatively or just by going into the mines. I thought, let's see how long it would take me to get a stack of any of this stuff. So we've got we've got a ton of copper. I don't think anyone here is really knows yet what to do with it. It's a it's a new material. I think it's going to be super cool because of what happens to copper once it's exposed. It turns this amazing green. Looks like someone's taken it all, melted it. I'm not sure where it's ended up. Yeah, well, a lot of it's here for some reason. But anyway, tons of iron, tons of copper, tons of coal. It's quite easy to achieve all those things. And now they're all substances. Raw copper. I may have neglected to put those in here. Let me make a note of that. Raw copper and iron. Anyway, those are all materials I'm going to research, which means that they're going to become eligible for crafting by a crafting profession who will do so in their workshop. So far all we've got is the builder. There's going to be many more in my plan here on how to build out this town. Okay, we talked about the builder inspection. Before I get into the explorer, actually, let's talk about this little project here. And the fact that, let me show you this first. This has been my residence here. Now it's the explorer's residence because I decided to swap spaces with the explorer whose home is this building up here. And I went up there and I said, boy, that's a nice view. And I thought it's about time to get these two buildings connected into the rest of the village. And at some point I decided I wasn't going to abandon them, I wasn't going to move them. This kind of bubble of the hillside here, I thought, well, that was Minecraft's intentional landscape generation, trying to make it look a little organic, even as this building is kind of sitting out, hanging off the edge. So I went with it, and I crafted a road. It meets the requirements here that it's using half slabs. You don't have to jump, which means that there has to be 2 blocks here, and then you put the slabs on the high side of the block. So it had to have a nice gentle kind of rise. Connects you to this workshop, which has had its whatever was in here removed. Crafting machine. And there was I thought was going to be the entrance to a cavern. It turns out it was just someone's quick stone mine. So I just kind of circled up to one side of it, did a nice sharp turn here, and lo and behold, the road comes up and ends here at the new mayor's residence. And someone took my bed, which kind of sucks. But I have my stuff in here. I had a diamond. I had my amethyst in here until I moved up to here, and then I placed my amethyst up in this area. But someone came and took that. Again, I'm not on the side of thinking that someone was intending to steal something. I think that someone just thought it was going to waste. So I don't know what I did with my diamond. I don't know that I gave it up, so that may be missing as well. And I had a bed here. Now, I never had a problem until I moved, and it may be that people don't recognize that this is actually where I want to keep my stuff. But this is why I moved up here. I think a mayor should have a decent view. You have to look out over the town's interests. They might as well also look out over the town and be able to see it. So that's convenient. I actually sleep there a lot because it's in the center of town where I'm at the most often. But yeah, so I moved up here, and it's pretty good. I like the view. You can kind of see what's going on. There's that long staircase. So yeah. So anyway, I'll at some point find a new bed. Giving some time to see if someone reads my sign I posted at the community announcement board. So that, there's PE. He's being good and thinking I'd be interrupting to say hello, but that's alright. So I put on here things like, thank you Grim for supplying arrows. Yeah, we know, I've got them. I put them all up in here because that's where you're going to want to have them when you need them. Oh yes, I decided I'd name the town. It's going to be called Savannah Dur. Dur, in one of Tolkien's made-up languages, or the Lord of the Rings. Dur means tower. And I was doing some traveling this round, which I'll talk about next. And you could just see this tower from a distance. It was kind of comforting because it lets you know, where is the town? PE Moral, in fact, actually had to rescue me at one point. I went on a very long trek, and although I used a method for keeping track of where I was going, when I turned around and tried to retrace my steps, I somehow got off track. So he's got his trusty steed, and he came out and found me. Howdy. I was just telling everyone about how you had to rescue me from being lost. Just reading the announcements. Oh, if any sign is no longer needed, just break it and put the sign back in the chest. So anyway, yeah, so he helped me out there, and that was good. What else have I written on here? Oh yeah, my bed is missing, my amethyst blocks are missing, those were a gift to me. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so, and then others have used this. I kind of used this format where you put, for me it's a role playing, and I kind of call myself the mayor, although my name is actually Sealjan. And there's me. Someone is kind enough to give me all this armor and everything. I guess I'm an appreciated mayor. Anyway, so like lolbit would put lolbit : and then the message, so you know who wrote it, and presumably the person knows who it's for. Oh, the mine. Yes, we had a look at it a little bit ago. Nice work getting all the way down to Bedrock. Did you find any diamonds? Let's see what he has to say about that. So anyway, that's all about that. We'll talk to him for a moment, and then I'll tell you about what happened with my explorations. Actually, not yet. Still working on that. Awesome. Good luck. So, it's gonna be night. Anyway, well, let's wait until nightfall, and then we'll get up again. And I'll kind of talk to you about what I did as far as the exploration. Well, the original goal for the exploration, using the method I was to explore the next biome, and the biome to the north, in which case that's the desert. And what I thought would work just fine was that if I'll model it as soon as he gets to sleep here. Well, so if I went out the west gate and I followed the edge of the desert, keeping the desert on my right and anything else on my left, that I should be able to circumnavigate the desert and come right back to where I started. So again, let's see here. Check out. Certainly none of these passive mobs ever seem to wander through that. So here's the edge of the desert, right? So if I just start walking like this, and I keep and make sure that whatever is next to the desert's on my left, and the desert's on my right, that's just one way of getting out there and exploring the world. And all you have to do to get back is put the desert on your left and follow it back like this, right? Well, it's not that simple. Sometimes it is. I was able to go around this the savanna and do that. The first time I explored, I just followed the edge of the savanna, kept it on my right, way back around this way, hit the ocean over there, and then, came back and made it back home. No problem. Deserts tend to be a little bit bigger, I think, and sometimes even more complicated. Kind of like plains. Plains, a lot of times you can just follow plains forever. So the first time I did this, I got lost, and PE saved me. The second time I did it, I was a little more cautious, and I used a boat. What I decided I would do is, we'll see. Here's why I've called it Savannah Doer. Right? Look at that tower. There's the village, and this river here is probably where I'm going to build a small dock, and it's going to be the port that kind of accesses this village, because over here it's not just a river, but it's the ocean. You just take a quick oops, let me make sure there we go, oriented correctly. All you have to do is just come around this corner, and here you are at the ocean. Now what I decided to do is, using a boat, I can navigate the rivers. The rivers are not as they're fairly clear, and if you go up a river and you turn around and you come back, you're gonna come back to where you started. Following the edge of a biome can sometimes be a little tricky. So anyway, I explored by river, and what I found was that this is the nearest connection to the ocean right here. This island, or this peninsula here, I believe PE probably lit this up. If you follow the coastline here and you see this lit up peninsula, then you'll know, hey, this is how to get back to Savannah Doer. So this is just the first part of a series of expansions that I'm going to be doing. From here, I traced up this river and found a village. It might be I don't know what you call it, the haunted village, where there's no if whatever villagers are left are converted. I forget. Sorry, I forget the names of these things. They need to be healed. There's cobwebs everywhere. Anyway, it's like a world gen thing. And I found some other locations, but we're going to expand out one step at a time. And the first step for me was, I'm going to have the new profession called the Sea Builder. It's going to create a little dock over here, and that dock is the road builder is going to connect it to this dock. Maybe I'll put it over here. It's going to create a path that goes back to the village, and then from here, using torches and other lights, kind of to guide you along the way, you can head out to the ocean, where there's going to be another little port, a dock, maybe a fishing dock, not quite sure yet. And from there, further ports. So I'll just keep moving out. As I follow these rivers and I find villages, there'll be a dock. And at each one of these docks or ports, there's going to be signs that say, if you go this way, you're going to go to so-and-so village. If you go that way, you're going to go to so-and-so port. And that way you pretty much have a road made out using water, the rivers and the ocean. that should get around very quickly. And as I may have mentioned, I don't want to do, at this point, I don't want to do road building in the desert if I can avoid it. Something about the sand, I think it's kind of a challenge, but instead in the desert I might use pillars, like 1 or 2 cobblestone, and with a torch on top, and spaced out frequently enough so that you can kind of like, oh, there's a torch right there, and then you just walk straight that way across the desert. That seems to be kind of the romance of the desert, right? It's not that you can build a road, it's because the sand is always moving, and you can't build a road. It'll only get buried in the next storm. So you have to rely on other means for navigation. So in some ways, deserts then become road deserts. You don't have roads. But if you want to get from here to there, and the shortest way is through the desert, the best thing you can do is perhaps put up these little pillars. And so we'll see. We'll take the easy way along the rivers. We'll find the villages, but I want to connect the villages. And we'll figure out what the easiest and quickest way is to do that. So, lots of options, and there's gurgling. I still love these ponds. These ponds produce lots of happy hunting. A little bit covered up right now, but oh well. What do we got here? Ooh, someone with a tasty snack. It looks like it may have been sealed off. I don't know why people are not appreciating this like I do. I'm gonna probably take some drowning damage. It's okay. Oh. Anyway, good stuff. Alright, well, I think that covers about everything. Yeah, I know, you got a bad cold. We'll fix it someday. So, yeah, I'm excited to continue the series. It has been a little while. Excuse me for eating on camera. That was kind of loud. It's been a little while since I created a video. I'm still focused on doing this series. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and drop my personal private play of the modded Java game. I really want to just focus on this. And yeah, so hope you enjoyed this. Hope that was informative and helps you with your own thoughts on how to play a nice, long, slow, progressive game of Minecraft, where we're going to do all the things. And if you just hang in there with me, the research component here, I researched only cobblestone. It may not be obvious what I'm doing with this whole thing, and why is there a zombie yelling in my ear? Anyway, let's move over this way. But I think it'll become clear the further along we go. This is kind of the first fruits of all that. The builder's showroom now features 3 blocks. Official supplyable building materials. Research has been a bit slow, but it's going to increase its pace now that we've got past the wood and the cobblestone stage. So things should start growing by leaps and bounds. We'll have new workshops, and this town is going to get bigger, and we're going to go places, and we're going to build in remote locations. We're going to create a network of roads and paths, and where are you? Anyway, we're going to create a network of places to go, and then my videos will just pretty much start spanning all these different locations, and probably have to actually edit. I don't want you guys have to watch me travel from one place to another all the time. But anyways, that's it. I'll go ahead and stop this video. Please show your appreciation, and see you in the next one.